What do you say to that? Because you just really
Lord help me.
You hit the needle on the head, and that's generational.
Just generational.
I mean, if you look at statistically, how many black folks on welfare in comparison to whites? Statistically, how many black folks earn the median income?
That was what I was getting ready to say. Even if you get away from welfare, let's just talk about net worth. Let's just talk about ownership between the parties. Like black people might have such and such percent, and white people median might be like 100,000, 125, 150,000.
On average.
On average.
Nationwide.
You feel what I'm saying? So that large disparity has a person to say, whoa, what is going on here?
And why is that?
We're trying to exist in a world in which, again, like everything I said from the beginning, they establish the world overall for their benefit. Now more than ever, I'll be the first person to tell you, we got black billionaires. We got black multimillionaires. We got black millionaires. We got black six-figure earners. And a six-figure earner is more than 100,000. From 100,000 all the way to 999,999. So you can have a six-figure lifestyle, $700,000-$800,000 a year, and live a very comfortable life. Then you have a large portion of people who just really struggling still. True. You know what I'm saying? And really trying to make ends meet, working, living check to check, so forth and so on. And a lot of times it comes down to who, in my belief, ultimately is the Lord. But who's willing to do the true internal work that's necessary for the people to rise? Like for me, I do believe that police stations and police precincts everywhere should establish a forgiveness program where they literally just, you just going to apologize. Do it over. Well, they're like, well, we already apologized. Well, you know how much hell you done caused? Just keep doing it. Why? Because these are the citizens that you swore oath to protect, which then institutes a level of hypocrisy for many of them, because a lot of them, those that are white, and unfortunately, we know this from the military, after you cross over a certain level, it just becomes about the brotherhood. So yeah, you got white people that kill blacks and all that, but then you just got police that kill blacks. Why? Because now they've crossed from their race into the blue brotherhood. Which is a whole nother story.
That is so true, brother Marquise. That's why we here, the Honeycombpodcast is here to help the people heal from trauma, heal from different generational curses and issues, just to help the people heal. That's why we exist, y'all.
Amen.
We here to help and to help people grow, to make others great. And with that said, before we get out of here, what's your thoughts on what can we do as a people group, as black people? How can we better help ourselves?
Well, the most primary thing, truthfully, is really return to the God of the Bible. And people don't want to hear that. They want to hear something else. But even historically, if you go and look at everything we have done, it's largely been kind of futile. You know what I'm saying? It has been not as fruitful as people would like it to be. It might start out for a while, but it's had no long continuation. Black Wall Street was blown off the map. All the marches, they get dismantled. The leaders get killed. I mean, look at that.
Or puppet.
Malcolm X was killed. Martin Luther King was killed. All that. And then you got people that say, well, were they really on our side the whole time? You know what I'm saying? Thinking about, where they, you know what I'm saying? So I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I need to do more research ultimately. But largely, I would say we need to get our minds right. Black leaders need to be established almost like the military. And if you even look at his scriptures, when Jesus had the disciples to feed them, he said, break them down into groups. When Moses was establishing the hierarchy with his people, he said, you got 100 people, you got 50 people, So I think one of the difficulties of that and this is a big difficulty, is the religious beliefs. So blacks will have to look at it and say, are we going to put our religious beliefs aside and establish a utopia, so to speak, for the sake of establishing a utopia? And then whoever wants to go wherever within the utopia, they go. Because you got Muslims, you got atheists, you got Christians, then you got the multiple denominations in Christianity, you got black Buddhists, you got, you know what I'm saying? Which can establish schisms.
Yes.
But even as you might hear about in prison or jail, even sometimes, I might be Blood, you might be Crip, you might be GD, you might be VL, you might be whatever. But while we in here, we all black. We can deal with that mess later. We can talk about the set later. But we in here, we fight these Aryan brotherhoods. We fight the Mexicans. We fight, you know what I'm saying? So to me, that's an interesting thing because it proves proof of concept that we can come together. We always like to hear blacks can't come together. That's not true. Blacks in large, in my opinion, don't have a big enough reasoning and why within themselves to put their differences aside. Now you in your prison, you in prison and jail, it's life or death. You Blood, bro. I'm Crip. You from a set that we actually had beef with, but in this joint, we black. You from the South, I'm from the North, blah, blah, blah. But we in here, we black. So they put their differences aside to stand together in unity to protect one another against the whites, against the Spanish, But then you see, well, do y'all not see that we're losing this large battle overall? Now, I ain't telling blacks to go pick up rifles and guns and go
Not no pitchfork
causing terror, but it's like, what do you ultimately want? So to be true to my faith, I have to speak my truth, which is repenting and coming back to the God of the Bible and taking our rightful place is who we are. I believe that's the overarching truth and way of freedom for us to have more. Because in the most general sense, if you look at people that's living unto the Lord successfully, they have a fullness of life in all aspects. You got some people that's going to love God, and it just might be their lot to not have a lot of wealth. Then you got some people that's truly blood washed, filled with the Holy Ghost, love God, and they're wealthy. And not only do they help and they serve, they do have nice things also. They may have a Rolls Royce, a Lamborghini, and a mansion. That don't make them evil. True. That don't mean they're going to hell. They just decide this is what they like. They like nice things. They like quality things. But they have that balance. Mm-hmm. So with that, looking at what do blacks want? Because this is my thing, and I'm going to turn it over to you. I believe now more than ever, we do have more than we've ever had. And a lot of times, listen to what I'm saying, y'all. I'm not saying it's wrong to want equality. I'm not saying it's wrong to stand up for what you believe in and for justice, because Yahweh, God, is a God of justice. However, you get what you focus on. So, although I believe in rights and activism and things of that nature, you get what you focus on. So I believe personally, because I go over this all the time and I plan to have more conversations. I think sometimes we focus too much on those things, the lack, the inequality, the all of that, instead of utilizing that brain power, resources, financially, mentally, emotionally, everything else to establish something that it is that we want, if that makes sense.
Totally.
You know, you got, and some that can almost sound like an oxymoron. It can almost sound like it's canceling each other out, but I don't believe it is. That doesn't mean don't create newsletters. That doesn't mean don't create social media posts. That doesn't mean don't create YouTube footage. That doesn't mean don't speak to these injustices that's going on. But when you dedicating your full life, your mind, all your energy in doing that, how can you build? You can't build because you over here giving way too much. So it's like, hey, I'm going to take a day. I'm going to put some YouTube footage together, some content, whatever. I'm going to let that do what it do. But while I'm over here, I'm establishing wealth. I'm learning self-defense. I'm learning agriculture. I'm learning whatever. And then, unfortunately,